Welcome in to the Rock Talk Studio, your source for recommendations on rock and roll books and documentaries you don't want to miss. And this is a bonus episode. This is an episode where I get you all caught up on what is new and what has just been announced as coming out in the world of rock and roll books and docs. Today's show features projects from Elton John, Bruce Springsteen, the Tragically Hip, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Robert Hunter and the Grateful Dead, and that's just to name a few. I'm your host, Big Rick. Join me for an exclusive look into what's hitting the shelves and the screens, and get ready to rock your reading and viewing list. This is a big month for documentaries. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of documentaries today, but I can't start the show. There's no way I could start the show without talking about one of the biggest book releases in the rock and roll world this year. It is out, the new Alex Van Halen book, Brothers. It's easily the most highly anticipated book of the year, without a doubt. I just started it up. I'm not going to say anything just yet. There's a lot of buzz out there. He's doing a book tour right now. I think he's on his third stop. I can't wait to read it all the way through. I can't wait to talk about it on an upcoming episode. You're probably going to see it maybe 2 or 3 episodes down the line here. But I just want to give everybody a heads up that this book has finally been released. Go out and get the new Alex Van Halen book. Another book I just started up is called A Silver Snarling Trumpet, and this is a tremendous find. It is a lost manuscript of Robert Hunter, the Grateful Dead's lyricist and songwriter. This manuscript is from the 60s, and this is all about when he first met Jerry and what it was like in those times. It is a really cool read. It's very unique. It's such a piece of rock and roll history. This period, every Grateful Dead fan I know is really going to love this one. Silver Snarling Trumpet, the manuscript of Robert Hunter. That's out now too. You can check that out. All right, that's the book part of the show. Get ready for documentaries. Documentary fans, I've got 7 new documentaries that are coming out that I want to talk about coming up next. 7 documentaries. Before I jump into the documentaries, I want to string something on to the book part of the show because I'm giving away a free book, and it is a Rush book, a very cool Rush book. It's called Rush at 50. It just came out. It's a kind of like a coffee table style book about 50 moments in Rush's career. A lot of great pictures, a lot of great mementos. It's a really nice looking book, and I think someone's going to really enjoy it. I can't wait to give it away to someone. So here's how to sign up for the Rush book giveaway. Just send me an email. It's simple as that. info@rocktalkstudio.com. All you have to do in the email is put in, I want to win the Rush book, and I will put you in the drawing for that. I do want to let you know I'm also going to send you an email back. It's going to be a reply that I got your email, and I'm also going to include the monthly blast in that email. The monthly blast is the ratings of the top 5 rock and roll books and documentaries for the year, and an inclusion, a list of the new things that are coming out. So this blast is going to keep you on top of things. If you forgot about what was coming out, or if you can't remember those books that I was been recommending, this is going to give you that top 5 books and docs and the book buzz and doc news. If you don't want the book and want the blast, send me an email, info@rocktalkstudio.com, and just put in that email, Big Rick, send me the blast, and I'll hook you up. Wow, where to start here? A lot of documentaries coming out. So many new documentaries, a lot of cool stuff. And I'm going to start with a new one that just came out, and it's called Bruce Springsteen's Road Diary. I talked about this last month's episode of Book Buzz and Doc News, but it just came out, so I wanted to remind you, it's a documentary that features footage from Springsteen's latest world tour. There's also footage of band rehearsals, moments backstage, as well as hearing from Springsteen himself. He does a commentary. He describes the tour, conversations about his career, kind of develops a story about what he wanted to tell from the tour's set list. And that's going to be interspersed with archival clips of the E Street Band, underscores themes of life, loss, mortality, community. You know, that's Springsteen stuff that he's so good at. Springsteen is such a great speaker. He's such a great live act. I can't wait to see this. I'm going to be watching this in a couple of nights when it comes out here. Springsteen's Road Diary is going to be streaming on Disney and the Hulu channel. This next one has a really interesting story behind it. It's a new documentary about Randy Bachman of Bachman Turner Overdrive called, what else? Taking Care of Business. And it looks at his career and his obsessive quest to find his beloved Gretsch guitar that disappeared. Bachman buys every similar guitar he can find, trying to find that sound. He thinks he spots his lost Gretsch in a Thompson Twins music video. And then in the midst of a health challenge and COVID lockdown, he gets a lifeline on the guitar halfway across the world. This just premiered at a Toronto Film Festival. It's doing great. No streaming date as of yet, but this sounds like such a cool story and such a cool doc. I can't wait to see it. I will keep you updated on when we get some streaming information on Taking Care of Business. Taking care of more business. This business is about Elton John, and he's got a new documentary out. It's called Never Too Late. And what this doc is a showcase of never before seen concert footage of Elton over the past 50 years, as well as handwritten journals and present day footage of him and his family. It's all tied around his last tour. That was last year. This releases in December, so this one's coming down the line here. December 13th is the release date of the new Elton John documentary, Never Too Late. Have you ever seen the band Low Cut Connie live? This new documentary that just came out called Art Dealers is about the Philly band, and it focuses on its founder and frontman, Adam Weiner. I watched it the other night. It is a high-energy doc about a high-energy band. Though frontman Weiner is low-key off stage, he talks about how square he is and how uncool he is. Once he gets on stage, he transforms into a ball of nonstop energy, giving everything he has at every performance. This documentary is out now, Art Dealers. I paid $4.99 for it on Prime. You can find it there. I thought it was well worth it. It was a really cool look at this band, Low Cut Connie. Any Tragically Hip fans out there, there's a new Tragically Hip documentary called No Dress Rehearsal, and it gives the spotlight to one of Canada's biggest bands, and it really looks at why this band wasn't bigger all over the world and not just in Canada. This is a large study and documentation of the band, and it's streaming right now on Hulu. I just started it the other night. I didn't realize, but it is a 4-hour documentary. It's split into 4 episodes. Needless to say, if you're a Hip fan, this is one that is not to be missed. I can't wait to get through the whole thing. It's really in depth about a band that kind of lived under the radar for a long time. I'm not going to spoil the ending. If you know about this band, you know how it ends. Tragically Hip documentary, No Dress Rehearsal. 2 more docs, 2 really good ones are going to round out the show, and that's coming up next. All this documentary has me thinking about all the great docs that came out this year, so I want to remind you that you can find other recommendations for really good documentaries in the archives of the show. They're all free. They're all in there. A couple of them off the top of my head that I would highly recommend is Revival 69, the concert that rocked the world. That is a great, great documentary. The Immediate Family, about the studio musicians in Los Angeles that played on all those Stevie Nicks records, Jackson Browne, James Taylor, Phil Collins. That's a really cool documentary. A couple other docs that I really like was Catching Fire, Anita Pallenberg, the story of Anita Pallenberg. Carlos Santana, Doc Carlos was really good. The Stevie Van Zandt documentary, I wouldn't miss that. That was a great one called Disciple. All this is in the archives of the show. Go back in, dig in there. There's some really good stuff for you. More documentary news coming your way, and this one was just announced, and it's a new Beatles documentary. It's called Beatles 64, and it's directed by Martin Scorsese. Man, he sure does love to do those music docs. He's done a few on Dylan. He's done one on the Stones. He did the George Harrison Living in the Material World doc. This new doc captures the Beatles' first visit to New York City. It's augmented with new interviews from Paul and Ringo, so that's pretty cool. This is going to be streaming in November on the Disney Channel, November 24th. Beatles 64 by Martin Scorsese. All right, we're going to wrap up the show today with one more doc to talk about this month, and this doc is finally coming out. It's called The Session Man, and it's the story of the famous sideman Nicky Hopkins, one of the greatest session players of all time, easily. He's played on records from the Kinks, the Who, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles. Over the course of a 30-year period, Hopkins played on over 250 albums. Huge names are included in this 90-minute doc. Albert Lee, Ben Montench, Billy Wyman, Chuck Leavell, Dave Davies, Keith and Mick, of course, are in there. Pete Townsend, Peter Frampton, and that is just a few of the names. There is a whole bunch of more people that contributed to this documentary. This doc hits streaming platforms on November 5th. It's getting a ton of great reviews. I really look forward to this one. The Session Man, the story of Nicky Hopkins. Next week, I'm back with a regular format that features a spotlight title and a great recommendation for you. And it's a new doc. I talked about it today from one of rock's greatest frontmen who's been giving everything he has to his audience every night for years and years. He's still playing live, and his diary from the latest tour will be featured in next week's podcast. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Love talking rock and roll. I hope you enjoyed this month's bonus episode, all that book buzz and documentary news. If you want more about rock and roll docs and music books, Rock Talk Studio is on all social platforms. You can check me out there. All right, tear it down, pack it up, and head on down the road. We'll see you next time in the Rock Talk Studio.